Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Nick Push, and good news, I am back. I apologize for taking a little break from the YouTube game after Halloween and then the holidays. I just needed to kind of recharge my batteries, and not to mention my day job was kind of kicking my ass. But good news is Scream came out, so obviously I have no choice. It kind of got me back into the game here, and I am ready to talk about it. So, first things first, if you guys like talking horror, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Really helps out the channel. And also, I just wanted to point out that I am not a movie reviewer. I've said that before. I don't review movies on this channel all the time. This is just kind of me talking about my movie, or talking about the movie, and things I liked and things I didn't like, and just kind of spitballing my thoughts. I've only seen this movie once. I just saw it last night, finally. So these are just kind of my initial thoughts. Once I see it again and let things marinate a little bit, some things might change, but for the most part, I think these thoughts of mine will probably be pretty locked in. And it goes without saying, guys, that there will be spoilers. So if you have not seen Scream yet, Scream 5, Scream 2022, whatever you want to call it, if you haven't seen it, stop this video now and go check it out and then come back and watch it. So let's get right to it. We're going to start out with the good because I'm in a positive mood today. So starting right off, the thing I noticed and the thing I liked was the tone of this movie felt just in line with just like the previous movies. It felt like a Scream movie, which was actually a big concern of mine going in here, mostly because it A, wasn't directed by Wes Craven, and B, wasn't written by Kevin Williamson. But I thought the writers and the directors did a great job making it feel like a Scream movie. We have never had a Scream movie without both Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson's involvement before. Scream 3, Williamson didn't write, but Craven still directed. So it was a tall task, and I thought that as far as that goes, they did a really good job with the tone. One of the other things that I really enjoyed, and this could be controversial, I don't know, I haven't really heard too many thoughts on the movie because I've been avoiding spoilers and talk about it and shit like that. But I really thought they did an excellent job handling the legacy characters, basically Sydney, Gale, and Dewey, versus the new characters. And what I mean by that is they did a good job of having the legacy characters be there, but the legacy characters were almost like the supporting characters. It's a new era. These people have been through this countless times before. They're old now. They're not old, but, oldish. So, it's time to move Scream as a franchise into the next generation. As much as I love Sidney Prescott, and I do, and, as much as I like Gale and Dewey as characters in this franchise, it's time to have them in the background. And I thought they did a great job of having them involved, but having them, be almost like side characters for this new generation. So I really enjoyed that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that wanted more Sydney, that wanted more Gale, things like that. But for me, I thought it was the right direction to go, and I think that's how you handle a movie like this, especially after all these years. It's 25 years after the original, so I don't need to see Sydney when she's 60 years old battling Ghostface as the main protagonist. We got the fucking Halloween franchise to see Laurie Strode do that, for better or worse. But it's time to move Scream in the next generation, and I think they did a great job with that. I also very much enjoyed the way they handled what they called requels and toxic fandom. So that kind of goes with what I was saying, with the legacy characters, they were calling a requel kind of a mix of a remake and a prequel, and it's the way horror is nowadays. And I thought they nailed that. I love the conversation of all the kids and Dewey sitting in the living room of Randy's niece and nephew's house, talking about, and it was explained by Randy's niece. I can't remember her name offhand. She was kind of had Randy's knowledge. She was the new Randy, so to speak, where she just knew everything about horror nowadays and shit like that. And I really enjoyed that conversation. And then getting to, the reason the killers did this, Was basically about toxic fandom, how, all the sequels didn't live up to the original, shit like that. I thought was genius. I really enjoyed that, because, especially having a YouTube channel, you see toxic fandom all the time. I could be guilty of it myself too, you guys have heard me on my Halloween rants about some of the sequels and shit like that. So it's kind of a clever take on that. We all kind of need to look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, okay, let's just relax a little bit here, guys. But I thought that was cool, that they did it that way. It surprised me. A few more positives. Just briefly gonna talk about a few of these. The two main characters, the two sisters, Sam and Tara. I actually enjoyed them as the new protagonists. I'll get into some of the Sam stuff in a minute with who she's related to. But as far as their characters and their performances, I bought them. I thought they did a great job, and I'd like to see more of them. Let's talk about the opening scene. This is a Scream movie after all. This franchise was essentially built on the opening scene of the franchise with Drew Barrymore. Fucking iconic. One of the greatest openings in maybe not just horror history, but movie history. Shocking. So it's built on that. So the opening scene in any Scream movie is very important. And I thought they did a great job with this one. We kind of had a preview of it in the marketing and in the trailer with Jenna Ortega's character. But they handled it really well. They had some great callbacks to the original. They had just enough of the scene with Drew, just enough kind of, not copying, but homages to the Drew Barrymore scene, but also went kind of in a completely different direction with it for the most part, using modern technology and things like that. So it was as good as I could have hoped for. I liked the opening scene. It's right up there, not the Drew Barrymore one, but it's right up there with, Scream 2 and Scream 3. Scream 4, okay. The opening scene was okay. But it's right up there with the best in the franchise. So I really like the opening scene. I also thought that all the little callbacks and references were handled extremely well. You had a character, Judy Hicks's son, named Wes. Obviously a nod to Wes Craven. I thought it was cool that the kids at the party at the end, after Wes was killed, they, held up the shots, and this is to Wes. Obviously, taking a drink for Wes Craven, which I thought was kind of very, very classy and very cool. Sam, the main character, her last name was Carpenter. Probably goes without saying that that is a nod to John Carpenter. Very cool. A buddy of mine pointed out to me that when Richie is watching something about Stab on the computer, I think they're talking about Stab 8 or something, in the corner or underneath the video, there is a video talking about Kirby and how she actually survived Scream 4. So I really like that. Personally, I think Kirby should be dead. I know that's a unpopular opinion. I do love her character, but I like how it was just there and it wasn't really referenced. It was for the fans, so that was kind of cool. And then obviously, the climax took place in Stu's house. I thought that was really cool. I wish that wouldn't have been ruined in the marketing, because you knew it was coming. But either way, pretty awesome. And then just all the talk about the original movie, mentioning Stu, mentioning Billy all the time, mentioning Randy. They had like a little, I guess, altar to Randy in his niece and nephew's house, which I thought was cool. So I liked all that. It was not thrown completely in your face, but just enough. Especially this is Scream after all. It's very meta. So I thought they did a good job handling that. And my final positive is the character of Dewey Riley. I thought David Arquette knocked this out of the park. I think it's his best performance as Dewey by far, and I really liked, the way he had kind of fallen off the deep end. He's down on his luck, living in a trailer. He was asked to leave the force. Thought that was really cool. My one nitpick with it is his death scene. Now, I am perfectly fine with him dying. Perfectly cool with that. I've been saying for a long time I want one of these characters, if not all of them, to die. I just didn't buy the fact that after he shot Ghostface, he went over to the elevator and didn't take the mask off. After everything he's been through, everything these characters have seen and done, he finally, shoots Ghostface, says Ghostface, against the wall in the whatever, that glass structure that he broke that he fell back into. Why not just go take the mask off? You're smarter than that, Dewey. Well, maybe, but you think now he would be smarter than that. So, little nitpick, but overall, I like that they killed him. I like that they made it no doubt that he was dead. He was fucking, that was brutal, actually. I think it was a knife in the back and the stomach going up and down. That was pretty badass. But other than that little nitpick, I loved everything about Dewey's character in this, and he was kind of the heart of the legacy characters. All right, time for some nitpicks, guys. Biggest thing that I did not like, I have a feeling I'm going to be in the minority on this, because I have a feeling everyone is going to be like, oh my God, there he is, there he is. And this is the hallucinations, or whatever you want to call them, of Billy Loomis. Nope, not a fan of that. First of all, they went to it way too much. Sam is Billy Loomis's daughter. Nice touch. Okay, fine. Can deal with that. But she's also taking these antipsychotics, and there's this whole backstory about how she finds out and how it made her and her sister Tara estranged, and how their dad left because he found out through Sam. Okay, gives the movie a little bit of backstory, a little bit of heart, fine. But Sam also has these hallucinations of Billy talking to her. And it's Billy, wearing the white shirt with the blood, and they have a de-aged Skeet Ulrich. I just thought it was way too heavy-handed. Way too fucking heavy-handed. They went to it like 4 or 5 times. And it's like they're trying to show that she has some Billy in her, and that's what she needed to, to defeat Ghostface eventually. I just thought it was unnecessary, and also I would have liked if she found out at the end and it was kind of like a shocking reveal, where Ghostface reveals to her, that she is Billy Loomis's daughter, and then I just thought it would have worked better that way. But the Skeet Ulrich stuff, like, yes, it's cool to see him. Holy shit, you guys, I get it. I'm a Scream fan too. I get it, and it's cool to see. I don't think it helped this movie, though. I just really don't. And I know I'm going to get some heat for that. I know I am, but I didn't like it. A buddy of mine, Bud, actually, from another YouTube channel, the Halloweenverse YouTube channel, had a good comment about it. He told me that, her seeing Billy at the end through the reflection was almost like a Force Ghost moment, which is funny. I agree with him. It's just fucking stupid in my opinion. So not a big fan of that. A couple other nitpicks I had. Number one, I thought a lot of things were way too predictable. I called out who Ghostface was almost right away, the main Ghostface. I didn't get the Amber one, but obviously you had Richie, Sam's boyfriend. It's going back to the basics, and then she's only known him for 6 months, blah blah blah, and then there's all kinds of things where they're almost trying to throw it off too hard that he wasn't. Which kind of made me question it a little bit. But then when he turned, I was like, yeah, I knew it. So I thought that was a little bit too predictable. There was also a few logic issues. And mainly I'm talking about, the hospital scene. There's like one security guard there, emptied out hospital. What? I mean, it was worse than, I'm a Halloween 2 fan, guys, as you know. Even that's ridiculous. But this was just like, okay, come on. Like nobody's there, and I just thought that was a little bit ridiculous. I thought the actor, whoever the stuntman was playing Ghostface, was way too tall to be believable that it was actually Amber as Ghostface in some of those scenes, especially the hospital scene, with when she's standing next to Dewey towering over these people. It's like, come on, and I get it, it could have been the way it was shot, and Tara was crawling on the floor. I get all that. I just didn't buy some of that shit. But other than that, some of the logic issues, there's been logic issues in this franchise before. But some of them just bothered me just a little bit in this movie. Nothing that ruins the movie for me. And then a couple more things. Number one, Gail, it didn't seem like she was Gail to me. Courtney Cox is a fine actress. she's been awesome as Gale before, especially in the original and especially in the second one, in my opinion. I thought she was decent 10 years ago in Scream 4 as well. But it just didn't seem like the same character to me. I don't know if it's, Courtney Cox is, she's had some work done, and it's hard for her to emote a little bit, it seems like. Not judging, I'm just saying. But I just didn't buy that was Gale Weathers. To me, it didn't feel like it. Sydney, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, she is not the main focus in here. She's got some good scenes at the end where she's trying to pass the torch and help Sam. Overall, I didn't have a problem with the use of her character. But Gale, I just thought was a waste. It didn't even seem like Gale. So yeah. And finally, I just don't think that there are many scenes in this movie or many moments of this movie that are going to be very memorable down the road. A lot of the other movies, even Scream 3, which in my opinion sucks ass, has some more memorable moments. And maybe because time has passed, we'll revisit this in a few years and see if my opinion changes on it. But it didn't seem like there were a lot of memorable scenes and a lot of memorable moments in this movie. But guys, overall, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it did what it had to do to get the Scream franchise back on track. Not really back on track, but get the Scream franchise moving into a new generation. The legacy characters, some of them have died, some of them have passed the torch now, and it's time to move on, make some Scream movies without Neve Campbell. I love you, Neve, but I'm sure she would agree that it's time to move on. So let's see. I'm sure there's going to be a sequel. Opening weekend did pretty well. So yeah, I'm a fan of this movie. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Am I way off? Did you enjoy this movie? What were your favorite parts? Things like that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.